Alrighty, so we got Mayra Bueno Silva, I believe I'm pronouncing that right, and then Montana De La Rosa. Alright, so for De La Rosa, we'll just get straight into the striking. I think no real X factors here. I think Montana's a little bit taller and a little bit longer. Yep. So just 1 inch in both categories, pretty much. So Montana, her striking is improving every fight. You know, since joining the UFC, it's improved a lot. Every fight, it seems to improve. It's still not like amazing or even, you know, decent, but it's improving every fight, which is good. Like her overhand right, very slow. But when she straightens up her punches, you know, she has a lot more success. Just my observation. But when she throws the straight right or just the jab, keeps it very simple, she's actually pretty decent on the feet. And she's, you know, could be serviceable. But where she really wants is on the mat, and we'll get to that in a sec. But for De La Rosa, she's generally always circling to her left. She's trying to get angles for that check left hook that she likes to throw, or just her jab. She's looking to free up the offense from her left-hand side. For Silva, I'd say her stand-up is better, much better, than De La Rosa's, and also just a lot more vicious. She's pretty vicious on the feet. She comes in with that forward pressure. She looks to, if you try and clinch with her, she'll look for the Muay Thai plum clinch and then start throwing knees to the body, to the head. She generates a fair bit of force from her straight right. Like, she seems to have a bit of pop behind her punches, from what I've seen. But she does a few things on the feet that could get her into trouble in this one. So she'll kind of lean back to avoid like overhands or straight punches, which can kind of expose the legs a little bit as you're leaning back, because it compromises your vision a little bit as well. You're unable to see the shot coming. But yeah, that's definitely something Montana will be looking for as she looks to get to the ground. But also, Silva, near the fence or when she's advancing, she squares her stance quite frequently. And Montana, she does have a nice reactive double leg, which is something that I'm expecting her to go to in this. Most of her successful takedowns do come from the clinch though. Like, she has nice trips, she'll get that back body lock, go for an outside leg trip, and just kind of crash down on her opponent and look to land in top position. Also, she's a brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I believe Silva is a black belt though, but Montana, she's not too bad on the ground. Like, she can control in top position, and that's generally how she wins her fights and takes these decisions. Yeah, so as I said, she's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, Bueno Silva. She go for that guillotine trap when she's defending a takedown. It's a little bit low percentage. And she can accept bottom position a little too easily, in my opinion, and it's just not a great position in modern MMA. She's like very focused on wrist control and like head control on bottom, like while she's trying to set up her submissions, but also that can kind of leave you open to ground and pound, which is a little dangerous. But you know, Montana isn't going to punish you too much, but it does give Montana the opportunity to go for some pretty decent ground and pound in this fight. Alright, so how these guys win their fights. For Shitara Bueno Silva, she's very dangerous off bottom. She can lock up submissions very quickly, and also, yeah, you can't rest in her guard. But also, she's got a bit of power behind her punches. She's definitely more vicious than De La Rosa on the feet. So for De La Rosa, she has pretty good takedowns. She has good success with them, and also when she's able to hold top position, that's also how she takes these decisions home. So how these guys lose, for De La Rosa, we'll stick with her. Her stand-up's pretty basic, she's pretty slow on the feet, like that overhand right's just molasses slow. Also, just her reactions, her strikes, everything's pretty slow about her, to be honest. For Bueno Silva, how she loses her fights. She's an easy target for ground and pound. Can't remember the fight, but she was getting punished for ground and pound. I think it was the Gillian Robertson fight. No, not the Gillian Robertson. Which one did she lose? She versed Arajal? No, Marina Moroz, yeah. think Maria Rose was landing some good ground and pound on her. Someone was. I take these fights ages ago. Take this fight like 2-3 weeks ago, so I can't really remember. But someone was landing good ground and pound on it. Just trust me on it. So also she's very flat-footed. She just kind of follows her opponent, so she can walk onto things. She's very predictable in the stand-up. Also, she just kind of accepts bottom position. She doesn't put up too much resistance when her opponents try to take her down. But yeah. Alright, so past the victory for these two. For Montana De La Rosa, look for that reactive takedown, that reactive double leg when she squares her stance, when she's advancing. Just try to walk her onto it pretty much. Or, yeah, shoot the reactive double. If you can't, just drive it to the fence, look to get that body lock, and then look for trips from there. Control, like top control is what we're looking for. Don't worry about advancing too much, because that's when she kind of explodes and looks to get off bottom, but also that's when she does a lot of her best work off bottom, is when her opponent's trying to advance. But just look to sit in half guard, look to land some ground and pound while she's trying to isolate one of your limbs. Obviously just be cautious of that and be vigilant of what she's trying to set up. And don't let her advance too far with her setups, but just look for ground and pound, be opportunistic, just mostly looking for control though. For Bueno Silva, on the feet, I'd like her to go for some low kicks. You know, Montana doesn't check them. Don't settle for bottom position. Don't just sit in bottom and go for your submissions, because, yeah, judges just don't look on it very fondly. Sit down on your straight right, because Montana doesn't move her head very much. Cut off the cage, make her kind of uncomfortable, because when she gets a little uncomfortable, she'll start shooting for those rush takedowns, and that's when you can really stuff those takedowns and punish her for it, or even lock in a Das or a Anaconda or something like that. So that's what we're going to look for there. So how I see this fight going, in my opinion, on the feet, I think Bueno Silva takes it. I think she's just more aggressive. She has clean hands. She also mixes it up with kicks as well. I think quite easily she gets it done on the feet. It'll probably look similar to how Araujo just kind of schooled De La Rosa on the feet. Yeah. It'll be semi-competitive. Same in the Araujo fight. It was, you know, Montana wasn't completely destroyed, but she just wasn't having any success at all, really. But yeah, Montana will most likely look to get this one to the ground. I think that's where it gets interesting, because, you know, Montana's strengths are her takedowns and her top control, but also that's kind of Bueno Silva's kryptonite, which has been the takedown defense and being controlled off bottom in her career. And yeah, I believe, you know, Montana could be good enough to neutralize the offense that Bueno Silva is going to be throwing off her back. But in general, I think this is probably a pick'em fight. I slightly lean Bueno Silva just because she's so much better on the feet, and also she could reverse Montana if she gets on top. And if Bueno Silva's on top, then it's not great for De La Rosa. But also, just her offense off bottom, she could absolutely lock something up on Montana. So I just got to lean her, because she's just more dangerous at the end of the day. But also on the feet, she has such a clear advantage. But she has the poorest takedown defense I've ever seen. So, yeah. I think it should be a pick'em at the moment. I'm going to have a look at the lines. But yeah, the prediction is Bueno Silva by decision. I don't think she subs De La Rosa. It definitely could happen, but that's just, if I had to make a prediction, it would have to be a decision. So Bueno Silva is a bit of a favourite. I think it's around 55%, 45% right now. That's the line. If either of these fighters got up to $2.20, I'd probably just bet that, because I do believe this fight should be a pick'em. So yeah, that's the play. There's no props that have come out yet for this one. I'm taping it on the 6th of February, so it's quite a while away anyway. But this is the line at the moment, and if anyone gets over $2.20, I'd probably hit that very small, because, yeah, it's just a very low level women's MMA fight, so you can't be too confident in it.